Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Jerry Sansing with another edition of South Texas News and Reviews. This is April 20th, Saturday, day before Easter. And on 2019, the air times are 9 o'clock on Tuesdays and 9 o'clock on Wednesdays. There's my email address if you need to get a hold of me and pass information on, or I'll provide you with information as long as I can. But that's GSANSING@gmail.com. This is also available on YouTube, this and the other show, the What's Going On in Corpus Christi. You can go into YouTube with Jerry, with a J, Jerry, Sansing, and look up the shows, and then you can find out what's going on around this place, which I don't know if you really want to know or not, but I'm trying to at least present the different aspects of living in Corpus Christi to you. Anyway, I'll be right back. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the lights are on, the camera's rolling, it looks like. We've got those beautiful Easter lilies up for you. Tomorrow is Easter Day, Easter Sunday, and just wanted to share that with you people. Wish this was airing about that time, but that's the way life goes at times, so I'm going to dedicate this to all you people out there, and I hope you enjoy your Easter. I'm going to enjoy my Passover. I'm going to go ahead and just say thank you to my mother, Miss Connie, to my deceased wife, Miss Lynn, and to April 23. And those are they're gorgeous. Okay, that's all I can say. So were those three ladies. Okay, now what I'm going to do is start with the usual. I am totally disgusted with most elected officials around this town, as you know, and I don't think that they always speak the truth. So I usually put this up. Here's my little buddy Jiminy Cricket giving Pinocchio hell for lying. I wish you'd go ahead and help me with that, and just start calling these elected officials around here and say, tired of getting you into trouble with financially and so forth and so on. And then I am the president of the Taxpayers Association. I opened the Taxpayers Association show with a graphic, which is probably too graphic, but it gets the point when all of us taxpayers around here, with all this shenanigans going on with our elected officials and all of their, I'll just say it, sleazy ways, then we get stuck holding the bag around here. And this exemplifies what I'm saying when you get stuck holding the bag. Okay, that's pachyderm excrement coming out, folks. And that's probably as close as I can come to telling you what I think without profanity. All right? Now, what I'm going to do this evening is simply go through very quickly some of the Del Mar College stuff. Del Mar College is a very large taxing entity around here. They cost us a bunch of money. We've got the good, the bad, the ugly with Del Mar College. So what I'm going to do is say that this came out of the Caller Times, let's see, yesterday, actually. And it's a picture of this Valdar, which I think is a waste of time and money, as at Del Mar College. That's the mascot, folks. Okay, I'm not offended with that, but Sansing originally came out of Norway. My ancestors were Vikings, and I hope they didn't look like this. Okay, I can track my ancestry way back, prior to when my ancestors went into what is now Scotland and spread a bunch of red-haired genes and so forth in there, which I'm not proud of historically, but anyway, that's my background. That's where Sansing came from. It's not Oriental. But it says Del Mar opens a new food pantry to help students. So what happens is on campus, what we have is a place in the Harbin Center. That's the student building over there where they have the food court and all that good stuff. And they have set up a system by which students that can't afford even to buy chips and snacks and that kind of stuff, breakfast materials like cornflakes and so forth and so on, can go over there and the food is provided for them. Okay, and we have some pretty students that folks, they're just barely making it by, if at all. Okay, it just breaks my heart over there. And I try to take care of students and, you know, give them a little bit of boost here and there at the other place. But it says that if you want to donate to this food bank over there, Delmar Pantry, okay, then you can donations for the Viking Food Pantry. That's called the Viking Food Pantry. That apparently, okay, can be made to the Coastal Bend Food Bank at 826 Krill Street. Okay, donors should first send an email to the food pantry. To foodpantry@delmar.edu to see what items are needed and acceptable. Okay, so if you want to do that, which I will start doing on a regular basis, then you know, this is a wonderful thing that's been going on, and I want to thank one of the people that you know, was instrumental in this, Tina Brooks, for her efforts to do that. And she's quite the student advocate, folks, and a great lady over there. I won't discuss problems and so forth and so on, but I'll just leave it at that. Then I want to go through Regents approved plan for campus. This is a Southside facility expected to be complete by the summer of 2021. I doubt that very seriously. They've got a picture here of Mr. Trey McCampbell, who was for 14 years on the Delmar College Board of Regents. 10 years, I think he was the president or the chair or whatever they call that over there. But back here, it was February 18th, 2019. This is in the Foghorn newspaper, which is Delmar College publication. It does say that the Regents did approve the plan for the campus out south at Ride Field in Yorktown. Now, I've been against that since the very beginning, because I am now, this is my ending my 30th year, I guess, or 29th year, I don't know, however they do it. I've been here since August of 1989, so I guess it's 30 years coming up. But I've been very, very vocal about being against that, because we can't afford it. Okay. Now, I am a taxpayer in the Delmar College District, as well as a faculty member over there, employee at Delmar College, and we cannot justify that. I'm going to go through this for a minute, and then, you know, this is going to be a reiteration of the what's going on in Corpus Christi show that aired just before this one. But and I am the president of the Taxpayers Association, so this really, you know, honks me off a good bit to see all this money go down the tubes. It says Delmar Board okays McCampbell's resignation. Mr. Trey McCampbell was that president of the Board of Regents through all that, when you taxpayers were duped and told that we're bursting at the seams with Delmar College, admissions and so forth and so on. And that was a blatant lie. We haven't had an increase in enrollment at Delmar College since 1992 that you can statistically prove. It's been up and down, but essentially it's been flat line. So what you've been duped out of is $157 million to build new facilities on the East Campus and the West Campus of Delmar College. Okay. Now, then you approved $139 million. Okay. No, $139 million for a Southside campus, so that we can go build a facility that would house originally 20,000 students. Now it's down to 15. Now we've got less than 13,000 students now, 20% of which are dual credit students that don't go to campus, so you can figure out the math there. And now, you know, we're bursting at the seams. We've got 35% occupancy of our classrooms as it exists now before we finish the construction on East and West Campus. All right, at the moment, we've got the Northwest Center, and then we've got the South Campus, or whatever it is over there on that we've got the administration and so forth over on, what is that, by Ray High School. Okay. So they're lying to you. And then it says Delmar Board okays McCampbell's resignation. He resigned, and I'm investigating the reason for that, and I will address that in a future time. Okay, but something stinks, folks. Okay, so you've been duped. You've been told that you know, these people need to be in there and that we need that Southside campus, and you know, it's on 96 acres of absolute swampland. You know, you're going to have to float the buildings out there, and it's just a mess. So you've been duped, folks. You've been lied to, and you know, all these people over there on that board at the time that you know, pushed this, and the administrators that pushed it, and the local architects, engineers, contractors, bankers, and so forth, their noses are growing about 10 feet a day. So anyway, it's all lies and so forth and so on. I'm just going to be totally honest and blunt with you. And then we do, when Mr. McCampbell retired, then we've got Libby Averant, who used to run the, we call her Times. She took over, and she's the newest member sworn in on that Board of Regents. So, ma'am, I hope that you'll pay attention and not be suckered in by some of these other greedy people and liars and cheats and thieves that have duped the taxpayers. Okay, and then we've got a donation here from a company over there that's going to pollute the hell out of Portland, Texas, and that's the Exxon Mobil and Saudi Basic Industries Group. Process Technology is building a facility on West Campus to train people to go over there and work for these two companies, or for that company, Exxon Mobil, and some of these others. And since we're going to pollute everything around the neighborhood, then Delmar does a good job of preparing welders and you know, electricians, AC people, and so forth and so on to take over these jobs that are just going to pollute us into oblivion and bankrupt us essentially. Okay, so that's all I can tell you. I'm going to admit that I spent 7 years of my life as the chair of Clean Economy Coalition, it was called here. And you don't have that great big huge petroleum coke burning, baby killing power plant over there in downtown Corpus Christi. And it took me a lot of time, effort, and money to do that. But, you know, I feel much better that we don't have that. But then what we do is we have the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality letting Exxon Mobil go in with that plastics plant essentially over there in Portland, and Lord knows how many people are going to suffer for that. You know, and we've got Voestalpine over there that's already screwed them over in Portland. They've got all that soot blowing everywhere and noise and light at night. So, you know, as long as you people are going to vote these morons into powerful positions around here, you're going to get what you know, get what you got. I can't believe this, but anyway. But anyway, Delmar's taking money from Exxon Mobil now, and you know, that's what we do. We just knuckle under and so forth and so on. Then what we've got is we've got new buildings in final stages of completion. This is in the Foghorn News, Delmar College newspaper, and it shows a picture of the construction that's going on there, the massive construction on Delmar College East. You can't get around the campus anymore. They've got it all blocked up with all the contractors and stuff going around. There are these huge buildings going up, and I walk through the buildings that we've got. They can't maintain it. Elevators are out for weeks and weeks and weeks. Carpet stinks. They've got big stains on it. The parking lots over there have got great big huge gaping holes in it, and we can't maintain what we've got. And like I say, the survey from Delmar College itself has indicated that the classroom space at Delmar College as it exists right now before all of this massive building goes on is about 35% of the day we've got somebody in class over there. And the buildings are falling apart. Maintenance does not occur. Then if you want to look at numbers here for academic contact hours from 2009 until 2018, then according to their own numbers over there, we have a downward turn. We had academic contact hours in 2009 was 3,137,000, and then for 2018 it was 2,757,000, and we're bursting at the seams. We're growing, exponentially. We need all these other facilities and so forth that we're building for hundreds of millions of dollars. So you've been duped out there, taxpayers. That's all I can say. And I know I'm as popular as inflamed hemorrhoids over there at Del Mar College because I preach this stuff, but I've been there long enough to know. And then on to this coming week, we have a Board of Regents meeting coming up. I'll give you the information on that. See, I film these shows on the weekend. They go in on a Wednesday, and then they play the following week. So I've got a delay in that. But this is a graphic that I pulled off of the upcoming agenda for the 23rd meeting of the Del Mar College Board of Regents. That's April 23rd, which is a couple of days from now. And it says fall credit head count. Okay. Now it says fall of 2014 we had 10,439. Now they didn't do what they said was a summer flex entry and add students to that. So in 2015 we jumped from 10,439 to 10,852, but they said we had 288 people in the summertime, which brought it from the 10,439 to 11,140. And then we've got the same thing with the summer flex entry, which is equine excrement. Okay. Then we've got in 2016 we went to 11,689 plus the 284 in the summer, which was 11,973. So we've got an increase, if you don't count all the summer, from 2014 of 10,439 to 11,973. And then when we go to fall of 2017, it dropped a little bit, about 100 or so. So we were down to 11,833, which is the total. Okay, and then in 2018 we're up to 12,159. Now the problem with that, when you add that summer flex in there, is also over the last several years, this enrollment count includes 20% dual credit students, which it did not prior to 2014. Okay, so if I track this statistically, and I did take a graduate class in statistics, I took calculus as a freshman in undergraduate. Well, I really didn't have to do that because I took calculus as a senior. In high school, I went to a British school in Athens, Greece, and they kicked my fanny real good, so I had calculus class. So I've taken the differential equations and then a graduate class in graduate school in statistics. So I think I can read the numbers, and then I've got someone who is very adept at numbers and at the CPA level that's kind of guiding me through so that I can understand all this mumbo jumbo that Del Mar College tries to pull over your eyes. You know, they're pulling the wool over you, folks. You're being duped. I hate to put it like that, but you're being bamboozled by these people that are elected, that you elect to go over there and try to take care of the students and money and so forth at Del Mar College, which when I got here was one of the premier community colleges in the country. And I'm saddened to say today that I'm not totally embarrassed to work for Del Mar College, but I'm getting real close. Okay, statewide, we've got more debt per student than any other college I know of in the state. So anyway, so if you look at this statistically, there has not been an increase in enrollment since 1992. Okay, that's a lot of years, folks. And then they're blowing all this smoke, in your ear about how great it is and so forth and so on. Spring credit head count. We went from 10,449 to 11,884 between 2015 and 2019. That's 4 years. But if you take a look at the fall flex entry, then, whatever the hell that means, then essentially we are, just about dead even that we were in 2016 and probably in 2015. Okay, dual credit head count. That's incredible, So if you look at 12,000, let's see, what was this? if you look at 12,159 enrollments, it's summer included in 2018, and then you look at 2018, 2019 in the spring, then our dual credit has gone to 2,640 of that. So 2,640 compared to the 12,159. Does that tell you that we're not any better off than we were in 2014? I mean, I can add, subtract, multiply, and divide. At least I got that out of school. I wish CCISD would train a lot of their graduates to be able to read, write, add, subtract, multiply, and divide. And those poor students, I mean, those poor, instructors over there can't do anything for fear of being fired. And it's just a hell of a mess over there at CCISD. And of course, that elected people over there that are trustees and that, they don't give a rip. All they want to do is sit up there and act like they're a whole bunch of kings and queens and so forth and so on, big shots. And they have friends that are bankers and architects and engineers and contractors and, moving company people. Pardon me, I've got an itch on my eye there. I hate to do that on the air, but, I'm not one of these professional people when it comes to broadcast news. Okay, I just try to tell the truth, and I'm not going to go into how bad our politicians are, and we need to fire this person, we need to do this one under, and so forth and so on, and get stuck in all of that horse manure. Okay, and it's gotten to be real bad, folks. Now I'm going to change gears here for a minute, and I want to compliment one of our citizens here. She's a very accomplished physician, surgeon, and so forth, Dr. Jimmy Owsley. And in the paper the other day, within the last couple of weeks, in the Caller Times, it says local bookstores are helping grow readers. And there's a very interesting article on the front page of that edition, which was the April the 8th edition. Would you go back and look that up online and so forth? And Dr. Owsley wanted her bookstore to help people be smarter. She gives away a free book every day to help people grow their personal libraries. She talks about her background and very poor situation and so forth. Now she's a very accomplished and proficient and successful physician. She's, I think, in the emergency room surgical person over there at Shoreline, and she's a real delight. I've met her. I don't know her real well, but she's just a very sincere and community-oriented individual. She has started a group called Represent Us, and she's got the agenda here. I went to that original meeting, and I'm not advertising for her and her bookstore and this other stuff sucks, but anyway, it says here's a summary of provisions that she's after. Okay, she's very community oriented and so forth and so on. Stop political bribery. Amen to that one. Okay, I've been trying to get that done for a long time. It says end secret money and fix our broken elections. And how many decades have I been screaming about that? So I appreciate the help, Dr. Owsley, and I'm going to support your group 100%. And I know she's very interested in the Taxpayers Association and the Corpus Christi Taxpayers Association, of which I am the president. Okay? So, my hat's off to her. Just remember that name, Jimmy Owsley. I'd love to see her on city council, or I'd love to see her as a mayor, and so forth and so on. But she's a real go-getter, and she's very interested in education for children, children's health and welfare. She does a lot of the exercise and diet and so forth and so on. And she's just a marvelous lady. And I just want to let you know who she is, and that I'm backing her 100%. Now, sometimes that may get people in trouble, folks. If you go to Del Mar And if I back you over there as a faculty member or a an employee, you may be in trouble. You know, I'm like I say, I'm as popular as inflamed hemorrhoids over there most of the time, but I'm not going to back off of what I think is right. Now, what we've got, I have had problems with filing Texas Public Information Act requests at Del Mar College. Okay, I've done it for a long number of years, a great number of years. And what happens is, most of the time when I ask for information, which is public information, Del Mar College will get their back up and they will go ahead and spend money to have an attorney write the Attorney General's office for an opinion. Okay? Now, I wrote one a while ago, and it's been going on for far too many months. And I wanted certain information which was public information. Now, what the college has the right to do is to appeal that to the Attorney General, the Texas State Attorney General. Okay? Now, what happens at that stage of the game is they will write for an opinion to the AG's office up there and say, hey, we don't think that we need to be giving Sansing this information, so what do you think? Would you render an opinion? Now, in one particular case, the opinion was that give it to Sansing. Okay? Now, what happened was Del Mar College decided that they didn't want to do that, and that the Attorney General of the state of Texas was full of whatever and didn't know what they were doing, so they appealed that. And what they did in order to get the attention was they filed a lawsuit against the Attorney General's office. Now, how smart is that? Okay. And then that's been going back and forth. So the courts there, I think it's 205th or something, 201st court in Austin, said give it to him. We agree with the Attorney General. So the attorney here at Del Mar College, who I have no respect for whatsoever, decided he'd go ahead and appeal that. Well, under appeal, they said, we agree with the Attorney General's office, give it to him. Now, they're into the third appeal now on that case that they've done, and I think it's something like $61,000 so far in legal fees and so forth and so on that you taxpayers have been made responsible for in order to have Del Mar try to keep that information away from me. Now, if I was told by the Attorney General's office of the state of Texas that I better give that some information to whoever requested it, I don't think I'd buck those people, folks. I mean, you know, when you've got attorneys here for Del Mar College, and we're paying all that $61,000 out there to outside attorneys out of Austin and so forth and so on, with $20,000 worth of telephone calls, then I don't think I'd buck the system. Okay, but since I'm not as bright as the attorneys for Del Mar College, then and I'm not an attorney, thank God. Okay, then you know, what can I tell you people? All right, now then we've got an editorial here from March the 3rd, and this was the opinion in the Caller Times. It says, what Abbott did in defense of right to open government. Okay, now what we're doing is we've got a problem there. Governor Abbott, he was the Attorney General of the state of Texas before he was voted in as our governor. Then he is an expert on Open Records Act. Okay, the Texas Public Information Act and the Texas Open Meetings Act. Okay, so why these people want to go ahead and buck him, I don't know. You know, I mean, the guy is a very, very learned attorney, and if you were the Attorney General of Texas for a while, then you do know what all the rules and regulations are. Okay, all right. So he is Governor Abbott is trying to defend my rights to open government and Open Records Act. Okay, so we'll see how that goes. And then we have John C. Moritz. on 325:19, politicians accountable with open government. So open government means that if somebody wants to find out about what you guys are doing, then you need to cough that information up. Okay? Now, since taxpayers are paying for all these activities, then I think that they have a right to know how you're squandering their money. Okay? And if you're doing the proper thing with the budgets and the money that we give you as taxpayers. And taxpayers, it gets real painful if you're not making a whole hell of a lot of money, but you're paying these taxes around here on your property and everything else for Del Mar and the rest of it. Then that should be wide open under Texas Public Information Act request. But time after time after time, I've had requests in, and what these bozos and bozettes do at these different entities, and this means mostly the city and Del Mar College, sometimes the county, is they'll say, oh well, we'll just go ahead and see if we can discourage old Sansing over there, and we'll just ask for an opinion from the Attorney General, and if we don't like the opinion and we still want to screw around with the taxpayers and all, we'll just go ahead and spend $60-some-odd thousand suing the state of Texas. It's almost beyond my capacity these days, folks. This place makes my brain ache on a daily basis. But this one goes on, and it says spending public money in secret. Yep, that's what happens. And then a push towards transparency. Well, we're trying. Transparency is not a term that these administrations around here for the city, county, state, Del Mar College, CCISD know anything about. They're not transparent. They want to do everything behind closed doors. And then, make all this money and see if they can pad their buddies' pockets with a whole bunch of money and, screw you taxpayers, or us taxpayers, okay? Appeals court ruling hurts openness. This came out on February 28th by Tom Whitehurst, okay? He's a columnist and he's with the Caller Times. I think he's the editorial, not the editorial, but the column, whoever does the columns and so forth and so on. Okay, and it says the Texas legislature needs to fix the provision that has been struck down for being unconstitutionally vague. Okay, and things like that do happen. Now, I don't agree with Mr. Whitehurst, but about maybe 20% of the time, but I will on this one. He wrote this column in the Caller Times. And then I didn't get a copy of the Caller Times. It must have blown off or, whatever. They throw it in my mud puddles out here in the back of my house. That's where I've got an alleyway, and that's where my driveway is, and that's where the paper is delivered. So when I have a good windy, rainy day like we did Thursday, my paper just disappeared. And if I look out there in a mud puddle, I may find it one day. But then again, I went over and I looked. I was going to buy a copy of Thursday's paper. This was this past on the 18th, and it's like $2.50 for this rag. Now I'm going to continue, paying my dues for that because I need it for these shows and so forth and so on as a reporter. But the newspaper these days, as far as the Caller Time goes, you don't have enough to even wrap your fish heads in or put in the bottom of your bird cage, and it's an outrageous amount of money, and the paper's gone to hell in a handbasket. So I don't agree with Mr. Tom Whitehurst Jr. very often, but I did with this one. The appeals court rulings do harm us at a great high level. Then there was another article that was back in December, which I've collected and kept. It says State's High Court has gutted Texas Public Information Act. The High Court, they don't want to be transparent either. They're a bunch of attorneys. They want to just, be able to squelch all kinds of information. But open government is not partisan. So this is when we get into the politics, and we've seen this every day with all the Democrats versus the Republicans, and everybody's trying to destroy everybody else. and with the upcoming election, and why we can't go back to a civil country. And where are you? They're former presidents. Where are you, Harry Truman, when we really do need you? He wouldn't have put up with all this garbage. And my favorite TV station these days is OFF. I guess it's KOFF. All right, it makes me sick, folks. And like I say, I showed you what I thought about these politicians. Every time I can tell when they're lying to me, it's because that's when their lips start moving, okay? And they're lying to you. So until you get smart about this and start paying attention instead of just going to the polls and voting for whoever your neighbor says is a nice person and go for it, then you're going to be screwed. I hate to put it that bluntly. State's High Court has gutted Texas Public Information Act. Yep. And that's the reason they let Del Mar College get away with spending $61,000 so far, and it ain't over yet. Okay. So we'll see what happens. Now, another thing that has bothered me is the fact that we're going to be in the same shape at Del Mar College as the college up in Beeville. Okay. And it says State College should return the funds. And this is about Coastal Bend College up there. I've had dealings with them before. And this Beatrice Espinosa, who's the president up there, and it says CBC, which is Coastal Bend College, gets scathing review from the auditor. Now, I think it's just a matter of time here soon before Del Mar College gets scathing review from the auditors. Okay? There's no way that we can spend all this money on classrooms and buildings and stuff that we cannot maintain. We can't maintain what we've got at Del Mar College. I can run you through those buildings and show you. It's a crime, but now we've got all this new construction going on and for hundreds of millions of dollars, and it's going to be the same thing. So I'm going to really pay attention to and make sure that the audit of Del Mar College is done properly, and I hope we don't wind up in the Caller Times with these same headlines state, college should return the funds, and CBC gets scathing review from the auditor. And I think there was something like $200 and some odd thousand that the Coastal Bend College is going to have to repay the state because of inappropriations or misappropriations and so forth and so on. What can I say, ladies and gentlemen? Okay, now, and then what we're going to do is Del Mar College is going to go down the tubes financially, because what has happened is with all of these bond elections, that 157 plus 139 million, that's a lot of money for current construction and so forth and so on, and those are the 2014 and 2016 bonds that you've done. How are you going to pay that back, folks? Okay, that's about $300 million. $300 million, not 300, or 3 million, $300 million, and climbing. Okay, now we've got the highest debt to student ratio in the state as far as I can calculate. Okay. So what we're going to do is we have been able to increase the amount of taxes that you people pay. The cap is 8% per year. So what Del Mar does is they go over there and the Board of Regents will vote to increase your taxes 7.9999999% and not have you have to go to vote on it. And then in the past, if they exceeded that, then what would happen is you'd have to have a vote on whether you taxpayers would agree to that increase or not, and then it would be a simple majority. Okay, so if 7,000 people voted for it and 6,999 people voted against it, then it would pass. Now, what the governor has done is he's put a limit not at the 8%, which has been in the past, that triggers an election, but 2.5%. Now that's pretty severe, folks. And if we can't go ahead and increase by 7.99999% for all the next 567 years, and then, have you people not squawk about that, then we can't pay the bills off. But if it's down to 2.5%, and now they're saying something about 3.5%, then if it triggers an election at that stage of the game, Del Mar wants more money, and they exceed that, then it's going to have to be a 2/3 majority vote, which means that 66.7% of the taxpayers are going to have to vote for that. And I don't know that that's going to happen, because these bonds have squeaked by like 52 to 48%. So I guess some people are paying attention, but it's going to be real severe. Now, Del Mar College is going to go up on their tuition. They've already done that. So it's going to cost students more money to go to classes in tuition. Okay, and students can't afford that. They're stretched to the limit. And then it says that proposed revenue caps would hurt Texas cities. This was on the 7th of this month, April, by Mr. Joe McComb, the Corpus Christi mayor. Now he's rattled because that's going to be a city ordained too. So now that the city can't go and screw you with a bunch of taxes increases and so forth and so on, and misspend all that money down there on all these wild and woolly things, okay? And Mr. McComb, as far as I'm concerned, is not being truthful with you people, okay? Neither are many of the city council members, and neither is Miles Risley, our esteemed, wonderful, award-winning, Nobel Prize-winning city attorney. Okay, the guy's a moron as far as I'm concerned, and he won't tell you the truth. I've had too many dealings down there. And then if you look at what the taxpayers have been up to and what Mr. Jack Gordy does on a regular basis, is the man does not speak with anything except forked tongue, if you know what I'm talking about. So here's Mr. McComb saying that proposed revenue caps would hurt Texas, so please go ahead and get your Texas, elected officials to let them go for as much money as we can around here, so we can squander that and make more money for our architects, engineers, contractors, bankers, and whatever else around here. The title companies, Mr. Scott, okay, and everybody else around. So if this guy speaks with forked tongue, I think Mr. McComb, he used to come to Taxpayer Association and try to schmooze us into saying, oh, well, he's going to be the greatest thing since sliced bread as a mayor, and he's going to save us a bunch of money, and so forth and so on. And that's a bunch of hogwash, folks. And I'm just being honest with you. Here's an editorial that came out on the 7th of this month, April the 7th. Can you trust this Texas property tax reform? Okay, and it goes down here, and I'll just go ahead and summarize it for you. You've probably heard that Texas is a low-tax state, yet if you are a homeowner, you probably would not be surprised to hear that Texas also ranks 6th highest in property tax. If you are a renter and think this doesn't matter to you, think again. Your rent helps pay the nation's 6th highest property tax. Now, I have students when they ask me about things in class, and I don't mind telling them, and then after class I say, you want to go on this TV show, you can do that, and explain how you're being jerked around over there at Del Mar at certain times. And they are. It's a very student-unfriendly place over there with the current administration. But, they'll stand up for you over there and say, go sick a faculty member, and, go complain about them and so forth and so on, and then we could run them off, okay? And then since they're tenured faculty members, they're making pretty good money over here, then we can go ahead and get rid of them, and then we can hire an adjunct at about a fourth of what we pay a full-time faculty member, and, then we can save some money and get a further increase in our pay over $340,000 a year for the president. $340,000 is what we pay to have a president over there, and his only function is to provide me as a faculty member with what I need to take care of my students, the ones that are over there that are through the RN program finally. I won't comment on the RN program the way I see it these days. Okay? And you know, people don't care over there about safety or anything else at Del Mar College. I'll saddle that horse later. And then what can you do? Okay, the question for you is whether you're for or against it. Nobody likes to pay taxes, and everybody says government is wasteful. Even the liberals, even in Austin, and they do. Okay, even these liberals around here that are sucking up money, you know, hand over fist. You know, they agree it's too expensive. Can you trust this Texas property tax reform? Well, I don't know. I'd rather try it. Okay. And then it says on the 1st of this month, it said legislative session set to shift into high gear. Okay. Well, what they're trying to do over here, you know, is they get the budget done and the politics of pot, and you know, we're more interested in about whether we're going to go ahead and legalize marijuana so everybody can sit around and be in a stupor and not be aware of what's going on, and then, you know, vote these clowns and clownettes in, you know, because they're too damn spaced out to understand what's going on. Okay. All right, special session on the horizon, and this is halfway hallway gossip and so forth and so on, and this is you know, maybe special sessions are going to have to be handled to keep this government going. And let's see, it says here, and the state unanimously passed legislation approving across the board $5,000 annual pay raises for all public school teachers and librarians. That's one of the lieutenant governor's priorities. The governor and the speaker have committed to teacher pay raises, but not necessarily to that form or amount. Okay. Now, teachers around here, folks, are pretty well trampled over. And let me tell you about what happens at Del Mar. We hire people that usually have a minimum requirement is for a master's degree in a certain discipline, okay? And so many hours in that discipline. Now, when we hire somebody in for a 9-month appointment at Del Mar College, the starting pay for a master's degree person is below the amount that CCISD pays to have a bachelor's degree person go in to teach these different courses at the high school level. Well, at any level. 2nd grade, 3rd grade, 1st grade, 10th grade, and so forth and so on. Okay? Does that make you feel comfortable that we pay people at Del Mar College and the district less money and so forth? And then I'm glad that the CCISD, speaking of those people, finally agreed with the Navy that if you build over there next to the Cabinets Field when they're running those T-44s and T-6s and so forth and so on around the landing over there, then you know, if you have an engine problem and you fall out of the sky over there within the range of those auxiliary fields like that, somebody's going to die. But CCISD, in their infinite wisdom, I guess they got together with the people at Del Mar that bought the 96 acres of swampland out there at Rodfield and Yorktown to build a Southside campus. It's swampland, folks. It's nothing but black gumbo out there. And I don't know how deep the piers are going to be. Probably into China somewhere, you know, just under a pasture there in China, to keep the building from sinking down and being destroyed. And I understand even the people that went out there and tested the soil said this ain't going to work. But of course, Del Mar's not going to listen to that. You know, these jugheads have already committed to you know, $139 million to start with, and that's phase 1 of 3. to build a campus out there for 15,000 students because we're bursting at the seams at East, West, and Northwest Center. So even though we haven't had an increase in enrollment since 1992, make you feel better? I get all choked up. Been a long day, folks. I'm dead tired. Okay, and you know, I was up last night. You know, I appreciate everybody celebrating Easter tomorrow. This is Saturday. Last night at sundown is when I started celebrating Passover, if that gives you any clue about my background. Okay, but at least they listened to the Navy and some of us that were screaming and yelling. Like I say, I grew up around air bases. My dad was a Air Force fighter pilot, and I remember seeing airplanes go down all the time around the air base, and there were certain zones that you didn't go to, and I went to an awful lot of funerals, unfortunately, when I was a kid, for my friends' dads that didn't quite make it into the airport and so forth. It was hard times in those days. So my hat's off to all these people, and I'm totally burned up. My skin's burned up because I went out to the air show the other day, and it was a great show. And you know, I was brought up around fighter pilots and so forth and so on. And then I rebuilt World War II aircraft with my dad for a long number of years with the now commemorative Air Force, and we had some members out there at the air show. So I get to see those people, and that's how I learned how to fly, was in World War II. Training aircraft to begin with. That's what my dad insisted on. All right, now, so we've got a new carol site, and I think it's, let's see, where is it? Costorix Road and Saratoga. I think that's out of the flight path and out of the safety zones out there. I'm glad that CCISD finally got a brain and did that, and then there were several articles about where Carroll was going to be built after they found out about the aircraft danger and so forth and so on. And the CCISD opens door to moving Carroll to a new location, and I guess they purchased that, or they're in the negotiation to spend that money for that property over there. And then it says CCISD takes up redistricting talks. Okay, folks, I don't. I must have got into something today, and I'm just suffering with the throat and so forth and so on. I hope I can keep up with this. A lot of people out there at Delmar College and the city and so forth are rooting, hey, you know, plug him up so he can't talk anymore. They're cheering it on. Okay. So we've got the redistricting. They're going to figure out who's going to go to the new campuses and who's going to go to the old ones, and where we're going to shuffle our kids on the buses and so forth and so on. And I can't imagine what kind of a disaster that may wind up being. And then we've got our esteemed city people. Okay. It says, city looks to annex county's land. Corpus Christi could extend San Patricio County with 1,500 acres. And then we've got another one over here about a steel mill over there that San Pat is talking about. Annexation explained what it means for Corpus Christi and the county. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to go over there to Portland and so forth. And we're going to annex, I think the last I heard was 7,200 acres. Okay. Can you imagine us paying for that? Okay, in a county that's not Nueces County? Now what in the world is that crap all about? Okay. So I think it was 5,700 acres plus this 1,500 acres over here, and what it means to Corpus Christi and the county. Okay. Well, what we're going to do is going to be the same old garbage. We can't take care of it. And I can guarantee you that they'll screw it up. Okay? the city council down here and our county people and so forth and so on, I hate to say it, could screw up a one-car funeral. Okay? They're that adept at things. Corpus Christi to annex 5,700 acres. Why? Okay, so we can go over there and have to maintain roads and fire and police and, you know, utilities and everything else at Taxpayers Association when I live within the city limits of Corpus Christi, Texas. It's crazy, folks. It's absolutely nuts. Okay. Then there was another article back in March 26th. Why is Corpus Christi trying to annex land? And this was by Tom Whitehurst again. And I think he's a little bit baffled. Okay. I think the annexation over there is going to be, you know, one total complete disaster. And, you know, I drive down Alameda and I drive down some of these other roads around here, you know, Staples and so forth, and portions of those have got chug holes bigger than my car is, and I'm rumbling down there, and I've got to go have my front end aligned every 6 months just to keep my tires in shape in case I don't, you know, that's assuming I don't hit a chug hole and blow one out, which I've done before. But, you know, we can't take care of what we got. So if you can't take care of what you got, why in the hell do you want to take on, you know, 7,200 acres? Okay? And then it says that the Sandpat residents oppose annexation, and they've got good cause to do that. Okay? It's unbelievable. And then, you know, their editorials here. Who wrote this one? Gene Black. Okay? This one's a significance. What's right and what's legal aren't always the same. The city of Corpus Christi's planned extraterritorial jurisdiction land grab in San Patricio County at first glance does not seem to pass the smell test. Often we are given a choice of either doing the right things or the legal things. The land grab, while legal, seems to enforce the fact that legal and right do not always have the same meaning. And I agree there, Mr. Black. I'm going to hang on to that one. I'm going to find out where you are and so forth and so on. Okay? So we've got that annexation. And then what we've got also is city could give land to Portland. Okay? Annexation deal involves 7,000 acres. This is Tim Acosta. And, you know, it goes on and on and on and supports all this bovine excrement that's going on with all these deals. And then I saw another one where I think it's 500 or 600, 700 acres that the city wants to annex out at London ISD. Why? Okay? Can't you leave those people alone? And then here's another one that says steel mill would be a big win for Sandpat. So they want a steel mill over there. If they want to know what's going on, what they need to do, the people that want it over there in Sandpat County need to take a trip to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and ask them about what steel plants can do for you. I've been through Pittsburgh in the past, and folks, you don't want to live like that. It's almost as bad as all that soot and stuff you're getting over there from voestalpine, which you couldn't live without. And all the lights at night and the noise and all that good stuff. Then you got the pipe mill over there, you know, the Chinese pipe mill, making all kinds of noises and so forth. I'm going to go ahead and shut it down, and then I'm going to show you these beautiful Easter lilies, and I'll be right back. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I want to wish everyone a very happy Easter for tomorrow. I know this will air after that, but I hope you know, my wishes for you will come true. Everybody deserves happy times these days in the middle of all this mess and garbage that's going on. But you know, those are some beautiful lilies, and you know, I appreciate plants, so I'm just going to go ahead and dedicate those to me mom Connie, my deceased wife Miss Lynn, my good friend April 23, and to all you fine folks out there that tolerate me as I ramble on. and I try to tell you the truth. Anyway, I'm going to let this thing wind down, and I've got about 10 seconds left, so enjoy those lilies, and then happy Easter to all of you.